Hello.
How are you? Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah, Merry Christmas to you too.
Or as I got told today by my auntie, I think in this in-between period, you say season's greetings.
Oh, you know what? She's got a point.
Yeah.
Season's greetings, Scarlett.
Season's greetings. Feliz Navidad.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm knackered, but I'm also like in a good mood now. Better than I was like an hour and a half ago.
Oh, good.
Yeah, how are you? How's your week been?
I'm good. I feel like really full from food, wine, and family time, like auntie life. Feel very full to the brim of cuddles. But yeah, but like I actually have survived today better than I thought. So I don't know how everyone's Christmases were. I know that like we had a few, like, really sorry if your Christmas wasn't as you planned, that kind of a vibe. But when the babies are around, so I've got 2 nephews for context, when they're around, it's like, it's obviously full on. I'm there. Yeah. I want to hang out with them. And then I'm also helping with like serving dinner or whatever. And then the day after they leave, I'm like, well, what do I normally do? What is this day? Because I'm not working right now. Like this, I've got these days off. And then it's like that awkward feeling of often being lazy is only nice when you have the option of turning down plans. But when you kind of don't have plans and all there is to be lazy, I kind of hate it. Like it's one thing where it's the weekend, you're like, I actually chose not to make plans because I wanted a lazy day. But right now it's like those awkward lazy days where like, I actually just don't think I want to sit and watch telly all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in that zone.
Yeah, I see. Like I spent Christmas with my nephew and we spent a lot of, he got this whole collection of Pokemon cards. Because you got
come back round. Wow.
Yeah, big time. He got like 100 cards and wow, and they all had like these like tins for him to put them in and like put his collections in like separate tins and
that's whatnot. Adorable.
And so we were like going through them and we were comparing the cards and he like picked out his favorites and it was like, I have never sat down for like 2 hours going through Pokemon cards like, oh, but his damage is 100. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's so much better than this. Like all into these Pokemon cards.
I love that. Wow, you're clued up on the Pokemon game. Man, I haven't thought about like, geez, that's so weird, isn't it? Like that was such a, like, I had Pokemon cards when I was younger. Weird how it all comes back round.
Does. Yes. So first off, apologies guys that this episode's coming out a little bit later because during the days
Christmas,
of greetings between Christmas and New Year, it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it?
It's a tricky one. You don't know if you're coming or going.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a New Year special.
Yeah. We'll say that.
Yeah. But I guess the idea today is to kind of do similar to what we did last year, but obviously with a different twist this year of like our top moments, trends of the past year, and just a little recap, highlights, reel, all of the above.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about, as you said, the biggest trends, what we were buying, what we were lusting after, what did we see on our timelines that we couldn't escape from, things like that. And biggest fashion moments. So events, collaborations, things that happened that we probably didn't want to happen, but they happened anyway. And they were just big fashion moments for the year of 2021.
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you, go follow us on Instagram, StyleOverSubstancePod. Shoot us an email, styleoversubstancepeak@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube, find us on Twitter. We've got all the links on our Instagram. You know what to do.
So, I have a list of our biggest trends. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah.
You can slate them or you can love them.
Slate them or rate them.
Yeah. So, a big one that we've actually spoken about, that we both have strong feelings for, and that was the full-on return of Y2K fashion.
Mm-hmm.
It took the Gen Z by storm, and it was weird because normally when we talk about like quote unquote when we talk about adopting the style of another generation, it tends to be like far more vintage, far more in the past. It's like, I remember us growing up, that rockabilly style kind of came in for a bit, and that harkened back to like the 50s when our parents were either very young or were just born.
Yeah.
Like that was a throwback, like a good 60 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Y2K, however, is literally Gen Z imitating us in our childhood.
Yeah, but better.
Yeah.
With a bit more like streamline, a bit more, I don't know. It feels like a bit like it's a bit less embarrassing what they're doing.
It is.
But I wonder if it's because now we think it's in the name of fashion.
And
I kind of feel like when we did it, it wasn't in the name of fashion. But it obviously was.
I don't know, because I think you're right in that.
It's way more, it feels more polished this time around.
It's more elevated, isn't it?
Yeah.
It definitely is. But having said that, it hasn't.
But you know what? Is that
anymore.
because imagery's better? Like, I don't know is that because if we looked back on us wearing it, it's a grainy photo.
No, I think
and not that grainy, by the way. We're not that old.
We had colour photos in our day. But no, I genuinely think that 16-year-olds nowadays have such a better understanding of like visual arts, photography, imagery,
finding that
art of makeup, lighting, angles, putting things
That's
together.
the thing. Yeah, like when we were dressed like this, for sure myself, I wasn't wearing makeup. I don't think you would have been.
No. And
like,
if it was like mascara and that was it. Like our brows were done. No, like contouring,
it would have been like a slight
concealer.
bit of that like Maybelline mousse foundation or like
cream matte mousse.
And like probably covering up half my eyebrows and then maybe a bit of mascara, like brown mascara. Yeah.
And eyeliner was all the way around your eye as well.
Like all the way around. Like, and it wasn't liquid. It was like a pencil.
It was the kohl pencil.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I think that they have the luxury of, we're not that old.
Perfecting our mistakes.
Yeah. We're not that old, but it's also like, us in our teenage years, we weren't buying clothes online.
No.
Whereas now you can go online, you can price compare, you can see
and you
where
can
to get
see
the
like style ideas, right? The only style ideas we had was like the outfits that Etam or Tammy or like New Look, whatever window displays or like shop displays
or magazines.
Whereas now online you could see someone put like a cream jumper and like it doesn't have to be like a whole shop thing. It could be like, oh, those are green trousers and that's a cream jumper. Well, I've already got a cream jumper, so I'd really like some green. Like you can think of it in a bit more, I guess, of like
it's far more deliberate.
Yeah.
I think us growing up, it was like, I'm just going to put things together
clunky.
that I own, that I just happen to own, and I'm just going to try and make it work, and I'm going to think it's cool. And and I think also that there was a far lower level of scrutiny when it came to dressing and clothing when we were younger.
No judgment whatsoever.
Or we were just oblivious of it.
We just all thought we looked cool. Yeah.
We're just trying our best and we're just making it work, and that was it.
What a moment.
Yeah, so Y2K fashion really came strong this year. Mixed emotions about that. But next one, obviously, second year running, it was a big year for face masks.
Yeah.
I think some brands, like yourself, you have one, a Saint Laurent one. Some brands kind of came out with fancier, nicer looking versions, whether you were buying like handmade cute ones off Etsy or designer brands like all of them under the sun. I think Agent Provocateur came out with one that I really wanted to get, and I missed my chance. But it was more of like a fashion look, wasn't it?
For sure. And I definitely, I first bought just like block color ones, and I would definitely try and like slightly match it to my look.
Ooh.
Like if possible, like I wasn't going like out of my way, but say, I don't know, if I could make it coordinate, I would.
I respect that.
And yeah, I definitely, I got like, a Saint Laurent one that was like, it's sort of silky inside, so it protects your face like a little bit better. And I kind of like got it, and when I was like, let's be honest, they're going to be here for a little while. So why not have something that like I want to wear that looks after my face, like all of that kind of a thing. And actually, I know that like, the people that make silk pillowcases or silk hair ties, they've been making them too.
Yeah.
Again, as like a face protector. And I know loads of celebrities have worn that, but like it can like it's another thing to accessorize, right? Like, and also kind of does a bit of like of not being a disposable thing, I guess.
Yeah,
I got one as well that was like a Liberty fabric one from Etsy that someone had made into face masks. But yeah, like it is another accessory that we didn't know we wanted.
Well, we don't
want we don't want them.
But yeah, I agree. I think that especially with the silk on the inside, I think that was a good move, because in 2020 lots of people were discovering that wearing like the heavier masks was giving them acne or irritation and things. And also the silky ones can be really nice, like just looks wise.
Yeah.
So yeah, face masks. We're here for another year. Also, the Prada re-edition bags, the nylon little bags.
I've got one of those somewhere.
Oh, well.
I've just thought about it. I'm in trend.
Yours isn't the re-edition. Yours is the
mine's
first.
An original.
Yeah.
I got. Where is that?
So yeah, if you don't know what the Prada re-edition is, God, Prada's known
so
for their
trendy nylon. In January.
You need to find it. It's those nylon kind of crossbody bags, and they came out with these additional like pouches and zip pockets that were attached to
like a bit like build a bag, like the Louis Vuitton's done it. Like, I mean, everyone.
Yeah, a lot of brands jumped on that way.
Almost like you could build it up to look a bit cargo-y or like for your needs. Yeah.
So that was a big one. And they came out with the crystal versions.
Yes.
I remember seeing just a lot of people going crazy for them.
I've seen a few people opening those as Christmas presents. I mean, not people I know, but
yeah, online.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that we do that?
What show present? They're actually one of my favorite videos to watch on YouTube, is what people get for like their birthday or Christmas. Like people who are like, I've got a bit of money. It's like they're getting nice stuff. You're like, oh, really? Yeah. Like, I love videos like that.
Don't you watch the ones where, they're a bit rich and you watch them open their gifts and you're like, wow, people are really out here buying like Louis Vuitton for other people.
Yeah.
Like Hermes scarves for other people.
Yeah.
And the thing is with a present is you don't know if the other person's even going to like it. So to spend like a couple grand on a gift, risky, because those brands have
that's big money, isn't it? You just throw your money around. You just you're a baller at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, because the returns policy at these places isn't that great.
I don't think I'd ever want to return something at one of those stores.
I don't think
it's hard enough at Zara.
Honestly, I think you probably have like a week.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised. I think it's like you come in for an exchange only. I don't know.
We haven't had to know. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
So Prada Reedition was another one. Then we have this was a jewelry trend that kind of I did not see coming. And it was necklaces and bracelets, which were quite kiddie-ish. So they were quite brightly colored and they were like these little plastic charms on them. And sometimes it would spell out a message like, happiness is great. Or like, it was really, again, it was what you used to wear when you were like.
When you were a kid. And it's like all you'd make at like the childminders or like at nursery. Yeah, it'd be like mummy or like happy. And they've like became very much like a, like not even motivational or like, but that kind of
cutesy,
just cutesy, but an intention, you know, where it'd be like health or wealth or like survive or like these like messages of like what you aspire to, like around like stacking up. But then like kitschy plastic rings and all of that stuff. If only, I mean, so what, we're meant to hang on to everything we own in case it comes back around. Well, the amount of plastic rings I used to have as a kid.
I loved the plastic rings when they came out. La Manso was the big brand for plastic rings, but the bracelets, and I thought they were cheeky. The prices were so cheeky because if you'd gone down to Sainsbury's and picked up those kiddie magazines and like open the free gift, you could make your own, or go down to the works.
Completely.
They sell the string and they sell the charms, and you could make your own. Some of these brands were charging hundreds of pounds
crazy money
for like, I don't know,
for like stars. A £5 craft.
And people were buying it. More fool us.
More fool us. Or them.
Wow. Yeah. Another one we've got Bottega Veneta green, the colour, and Bottega Veneta mini Jodie bags. You know, the ones that look like a knot. Yeah. And they're like little dumplings with a knot on the strap. What was your view on that?
The Bottega green is like so recognizable now. Like it's that kind of a thing where if like you're not sure if it's a Bottega bag, you kind of think it, like, you know, it is if it comes in that green. Like if you didn't recognize the design, I'm less bothered by other dumpling bags, if I'm honest. But I really like the like, I think it's great for that. Like, we need more color. Like, as someone who is pretty safe at times, I think what a cool thing for your like main color to be a vivid green. It's not even khaki. It's not neutral. It is vivid green, but we all know it now. And I just think that's really iconic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And just, like, it's recognizable. It's like, isn't like Hermes is like an Hermes yellow?
It's an orange.
Like an orange, the orangey color. And it's just that thing of like, you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
A bit like the Harrods green, you kind of know that. I just think, you know.
a lot of these brands are on the side of black and white.
Yeah.
And this green color, it's very much like a fashion guy, a fashion girl. If you're wearing that bold green, it's like, oh, you're into your clothes. I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid and basic, but it's not a color that people en masse just buy into.
Well, I guess it's more, they have expensive products, right? So if you're going to pay that much money, most people gravitate towards a black or a neutral, a grey, brown, like grey tan, like black, white, because that goes with as many things as possible. So if you are spending that money, you tend to be like, you either really know your fashion, you're really edgy, or like it's like a statement to spend like a couple of grand on a bright green bag.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not going to be like,
it's not your first bag.
This is like your 10th bag in. Yeah. You're like, I can afford to spend like, these bags are like $4,000. So like this mushy leather cloud looking bag in vivid green. So yeah, I quite like that color. I think it's great. Now, Maureen Serre, you know, that Parisian designer, and she's got those crescent moons and she does a lot of those second skin, like long sleeve kind of sheer t-shirts and leggings, and they all come with the crescent moon. Yeah, you'll know it when you see it. I think maybe the name is throwing you off. But yeah, that was everywhere, and everyone was wearing these like sheer long sleeve t-shirts made by her underneath things.
Yeah. I definitely feel like layering is like, I mean, I love layering because I can't achieve it, but I feel like layering is becoming like such a big thing.
Yeah, I think if you can layer really well, then you're winning. Then it's a higher level of styling.
It's a higher level of style, chic, like yeah,
it's an art form if you can do it really well. A couple others, my next two. One is, I feel like Mugler really came back into fashion. Like, we saw Mugler more this year, and they've got this new creative director, but I think they've become like a bit more mainstream again. Like, we saw a lot of celebrities in these bodysuits with these like I don't know how to describe them, but these really well placed lines and seams and sheer paneling that would kind of sculpt these bodies in these almost cat suits.
Yeah, for sure. Cat suits have become a real fashion moment. Like, they've been worn on red carpets and all that stuff. And that for sure is inspired by Mugler, who's like always celebrated the form of the human body. And it's just, I think a few greats sort of returned with a bit more of a force. And it was like, I love the way that they interpret the body.
And I think it's also nice to see that it's not every day, like Gucci, Chanel, Prada, like Louis Vuitton. Like, there are so many other designers out there that were doing that, like, are incredible fashion houses, like Mugler, like a force to be reckoned with. Absolutely amazing. Like, the if you go back through like the history of like Mugler designs and stuff, it's incredible. And I think we also saw that with like Scarparelli as well. That was big. Had
a huge moment for runways, red carpets, lots of celebrities sort of finally discovering them, which is about time.
Definitely. And my last one is the Fendi First Bag. That was a really popular one with the big F. It kind of took the Bottega clutch, puffy
inspiration,
clutch, took inspiration and slapped a big old gold F on it.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And it's a cool bag. I think it's a really clever design. But again, I've seen a few of those floating around after Christmas on the old gram. I think also it's really hard to create new shapes that take off in that way. Like, let's be honest, most of the bags that we've seen Fendi, Gucci, Prada come back, like, have popularity with, are old 90s styles. They're not new. There's nothing new about them. Maybe they've added a new hardware on, but reality is it is the old monogram. It is like the old designs. It is everything like that. So for us, and granted, it's obviously inspired by the Bottega clutch, which is difficult because that's just a clutch that they've kind of unfortunately stolen the market of that a little bit. But for them to have thought about that and it take off and it work is really cool.
I think it's now become part of Fendi's like classic
main line. I'm not surprised. Amazing. Well, I wonder how many trends you guys be following of those, buying into.
Oh, and let us know what you got for Christmas as well, because I want to know
your fashion moments.
What you got. Is it on the list that we just reeled off, or
Okay, I have like a few questions to ask you, I guess, a bit about before we like move on to maybe like our top moments, like isolated. What's the favorite thing you've bought this year? I don't know if I know mine, but like, have you got something where you're like, okay, that was a really big like piece? I mean, for you, it's surely got to be your bag.
Oh, my bag. I forgot about that. Yeah. Go on. It has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It was my graffiti Balenciaga City bag. It's black, and then it's the one with the multicolored graffiti scribbles on them. Yeah, I think that was my favorite purchase of the year. Gave me a bit of a heart attack when I paid for it, to be honest. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But then, a day passed and I got my senses together and I love it. So
amazing.
Yeah, that's my favorite purchase. Thanks for reminding me. What is your favorite purchase of the year?
I really don't know. Like, I really don't. Actually, I might say I got an All Saints coat, like a camel coat.
Ooh.
Like maybe around this time last year, or in a sales at some point. I mean, there's sales all the time these days. And I love it. Like, it is now like my go-to smart coat. It just, I feel great in it. And I just knew as soon as I bought it, and it wasn't like in the season to wear it. Yeah. I just knew like it was expensive, but I was like, I'm really glad I got this. I'm really happy I own this. Like, I'll own this for years now. And like, I'm really happy with it. So maybe that, because also like wear it like sort of as my go-to smart thing.
See, that's the thing. Like, when you buy something that's more expensive than what you would normally buy, then you have a whole new experience with your clothes.
Yeah.
Because if you buy something from like H&M all the time, then it's going to feel like H&M all the time. But when you step out and buy something like from All Saints, you know, for once, then it's going to feel different. It's going to look different, and you're going to
treat it different.
It's
one of the few coats that I have that I hang it up pretty much like, well, more of like an important thing than others. Like, I hang it up on its hanger. I don't put it on the regular coat rack because I want it to keep its shape a bit more.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of nice having that, I guess. Yeah, probably that. And what is your like fashion takeaway from this year? Like, what's something that, like, maybe from the trends, whatever, like, what's your fashion takeaway from this year?
I think that also I've learned from myself this year that I will probably continue to buy more simple designed clothing pieces, just like things that fit well, that are maybe like tailored or cut in a certain way that I think is flattering to me, but relatively simple, like dark colors. I think that I've worn more black this year than I probably have before, or like the years previous. But like, I'm gonna maybe focus more on like accessories. You know me, I'm like a massive accessories person. But I think
let your accessories do the talking.
Yeah, I'm more gonna, if I'm gonna spend money, it will be in maybe that more, only because you get to a certain point, maybe it's age or maybe it's just life experience, whatever, but you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna just wear this moving forward forever. And there's certain trends like I don't care about, I don't care to buy into. I want to make my like clothing choices and what I wear easier, like a no-brainer for me. You know me, I'm like trying to buy less, although I have bought a few bits. I have to tell you this later, but whatever. But like slowing down and buying stuff that I think is a bit nicer quality, but it won't like date as quickly. I think like I've had a like more of a concerted effort that I'll just like, I like wearing black and it serves my purpose, and I'm going to continue to buy like black, navy, brown, and like keep it simple and stuff. That's been my biggest learning curve, or like fashion epiphany. And from trends, I think there are like loads of trends, not loads of trends this year, but styles that have really been popularized this year that I think loads of people have been wearing or buying into. And I'm just like, it doesn't suit most people. Can we stop doing this to ourselves? And again, maybe it's an age thing, but you look at certain styles from like the sidelines and you're like, it's not going to be me.
Sure.
Yeah, what about you?
I think sort of my biggest takeaway is, I guess, a bit embracing the kind of split personality of enjoying your like downtime activewear moments, and then like getting dressed up. I sort of just, I'm either all or nothing, and I'm always a bit like, on there'll be certain days I'm like, oh, go on, like you should, you know, get dressed, get your makeup on, like all of that stuff. And like I think I feel like my takeaway is enjoy the days of the like activewear, athleisure, like trackies, as much as you enjoy the days of like not, because both are fine, and like both are kind of here to stay. For like sure. The mixture's there, and I think I often give myself, with working from home, I often give myself a hard time of like, come on, get yourself dressed, you know, try and make sure you're dressed by this time or whatever. But some days like it's harder than others, or just you're just like, nah, just not feeling it, and just rather than pushing it, I think go with it. And trend wise, I'd be like, I've almost probably had the like reverse of you of like wearing funkier stuff. I just definitely want to keep doing that a bit more.
Yeah.
But I guess also I really like, you know, when you notice that like core pieces are missing from your wardrobe, like certain things, like it might be like, oh, a pair of certain black boots, or like for me, it was even like a cropped like black jumper that I could throw over dresses that I got like at the end of this year. I was like, how have I lasted this long without it? It just works for so many things. Like recognizing those things and just making sure I get those, like having those core things that then means if you get those more fashion pieces, they can last you way longer because you've got those staples in place to pair with it.
For sure.
I think just making sure like that core wardrobe is where I want it to be, because like realistically there's been things that I've wanted for years like in the back of my mind, but you almost maybe like buy into more trend stuff, but like training yourself to like maybe actually just that really basic thing is going to last you way more in like the long run.
Yeah, for sure. Back to your first kind of realization about appreciating the days when you want to be like glam and dress up and make an effort, and realizing that that is just as valid as not wanting to do that and wanting to be far more casual and in leisure wear and stuff. I think that over the past few years, you can look almost just as expensive or just as put together in that leisure wear as well. There are so many options out there that is like leggings and jumpers and all of that, but made in like really good fabrics that keep really well, that look quite, you can look quite put together.
Really put together,
and still be in like hoodies and just like a big camel coat over the top. And
and actually I often feel like my most confident, like if I've looked after my skin, got no makeup on, hair on top of my face, like either a nice like a like athleisure that doesn't necessarily match but looks nice together, or a matching set of trackies.
I love a matching set of everything. That's another thing.
You pop out and like you might look like in like a few years ago you might be like, why would you ever do that? But actually, like, your face is nice and clean, like it's moisturized, like your hair's just like slicked up in a bun, and actually I could feel just as polished as if I've like spent time on my hair, makeup, all of that. Like I could feel just as like put together.
I agree. But I love a matching set. I think that's part of my like simplification. I like the matching set monochrome thing.
I love a co-ord, like for like co-ords and like color blocking.
Yeah, love a color block. Yeah,
delightful. Cool.
So one of the biggest fashion moments that we kind of experienced this year was designer brands partnering up with resale markets and resale platforms. So we spoke about this in one of our fashion stories maybe about a month or so ago, and we had Net-a-Porter partnering up with a company called Reflaunt to help their kind of customer base in a really easy and carefree way kind of repackage their stuff that they already own and sell it in exchange for cash or store credit on the Net-a-Porter website.
Yeah.
That example of companies and brands partnering up with resale it's targeting like a demographic that has more money than time, basically. And I thought that was a great idea and a great partnership. Another brand is McQueen partnering up with Vestiaire Collective, and we've spoken a lot about Vestiaire, but kind of almost a designer brand saying we trust this platform to sell legitimate pieces of ours, and maybe we will sell sample or old season stock through them, so that people who can't buy full price can still have access to our designs and whatnot, in much the same way that, you know, we would queue up for hours for a sample sale. We're not really doing it anymore. Partnering up with like Vestiaire and the others, the real, that's it. It's kind of an evolution of that.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, like, I think these websites, one of the biggest things that has changed, when we were younger, eBay was the only kind of resale thing that we would have gone to. And now Depop is arguably even bigger, and there are way more sites. And I think people are way more conscious of stuff. And actually, with even like places like Chanel hitching up their prices, the reality is the way I'm probably going to own my first Chanel handbag is via like one of these resale websites.
Yeah.
And so I think that they just have become way more pivotal. And so it's really cool to see them embracing the fact that there's way more scope around what is possible with their sites.
Yeah. And it allows you to trust that what you're buying is legit as well. That's an important aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's really hard to know. If you aren't like a master, it's really hard to know whether what you're buying is trustworthy or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's the beginning of their adventures.
Yeah, I think also, especially in the past like year and a half, where people have maybe been a bit more conscious of their finances. We've been able to save a little bit more because we've been at home more, and as you said, the constant price increases of these luxury goods. I think we're realizing that, if I buy this, for example, I buy this Bottega clutch brand new, yeah, it's an it bag now. But most brands and most bags just don't retain their value.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, but you have to be aware of that and buy it brand new, knowing that in a year's time, it could very easily be like half the price, or sell it back for half the price. And so people are realizing, like, things like Lady Dior, you know, it's an iconic bag, but still, I mean, it doesn't retain its value. So why don't I just buy mine secondhand, and I can get twice as many like it bags or whatever for significantly less money, and only buy bags that I really want brand new, or that it's better off me buying it brand new because it's the same price either way. I don't know, people are just becoming more aware of luxury and the real value of it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it was maybe that grounding we all needed.
Yeah, a bit more down to earth, isn't it? What's one of your biggest fashion moments?
So one of mine came at the start of the year, is the US inauguration, where we saw so many fashion moments, but most importantly, our poet, Amanda, Little Miss face of, is it Estee Lauder?
Yeah.
Like, those fashion moments were just the start of the year of, I don't know, we needed some fashion candy, and it did not fail to deliver.
Yeah.
And yeah, like reliving, like, I mean, as if that was only last year, but just reliving her bold color look, like Michelle, J-Lo, all of that stuff. We love it.
I liked Lady Gaga's look on the day with the big old dove brooch.
Her pin.
Scarparelli, it was good actually. What would you wear to an inauguration?
For sure, I would color block. For sure.
Or one color. Okay.
I think so. Anyway, I would like to try and be a bit modern. I'd probably try and go like a trouser suit. I don't know.
Tricky, isn't it?
It's really hard.
Have I asked you this question? But if you were being knighted, so you became a dame, what are you wearing to?
I'd go really classic.
Okay.
Probably quite twee. What am I going to wear to that? I'd probably wear a frock. And when I say a frock, I don't mean like like a dress.
Yeah, I know.
Like a smart dress.
It was just like a very old.
Oh my God. I catch myself at the moment. I sound like a 90-year-old woman the way I talk. A frock.
A frock. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would wear like a really like classic dress heels combination. How about you?
I have no idea, honestly. I think I would have to play it safe.
Got to.
Because this is like,
that's a photo that's going to be passed down through generations.
Yeah, listen, I think I've mentioned this in the podcast before, but I regret my my choices of when I graduated.
Do you?
What I wore. Yeah. So I like my dress. I wore this red dress. It was quite like is it A-line? Like an A-line skirt. You know, like came in at the waist, went out. It was red. It was nice. It fit me. I liked the dress. But my biggest mistake is that I wore way too many rings on the day. So rookie mistake, honestly. And it meant that when you go for your picture with your hat and your diploma and you're standing there like smiling with both hands on your diploma, you don't want to look like Mr. T. It's too much.
Mr. T.
It's one of those fashion looks I regret. I thought I was really doing something, but mistakes. So I think I've learned my lesson from that.
Yeah, you've got to go classic in these moments. And you know what? I kind of love that Amanda sort of went classic, but bold at the same time. Her color choices were bold, but actually what she wore were
Mm.
classic shapes.
I agree.
So like it was bold, but it was actually quite it was safe. I don't know how to describe it, but
that's Prada though. Prada is known for like granny chic.
Yeah,
it
was sophisticated with a little like va boom.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a good choice.
Loved it.
So my next fashion moment was designer collaborations, which I felt happened throughout the year.
Yeah.
Especially in summer though. Yeah. I feel like they were just coming at us from every angle. I don't know how you feel about them, but I wasn't sure if it was too much.
Sure.
I'm sure they made a ton of money from all the collaborations Gucci was doing. And I think, okay, so I'll give an example of some. We had the North Face, which is a proper outdoor brand, outdoor activities brand, partnered up with Gucci to make big old puffer jackets in the Gucci print, tents, outdoor outfits that were like covered in florals, like very 70s floral prints. I thought it was cool. I actually quite liked that collaboration. But then we had Fendace, which was Fendi and Versace. And I thought, this is a bit of a joke. No, the name was terrible. The collaboration came right off the back of the heels of Gucci's centenary. So Gucci celebrating 100 years, and they did that collaboration with Balenciaga. And I thought that was a winner. I thought that was great. But then when like literally the same week, Versace and Fendi came out with their collab, I thought, hold on, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What's your view on designer the collaborations we saw this year? What was your view?
I think the best one was Gucci times North Face. I got it. I understood it. It was really clever pairing. Like, let us not forget Skims times Fendi.
Yes.
I thought Gucci times Balenciaga was actually a bit random. Like, and again, like was it Fendi and Versace? Like, you're too similar. Like, you're the same, like the way North Face and Gucci works, because you're not the same price point. You're not the same. That's aren't true. Poaching each other's customers. Like, it's a really interesting collaboration.
Yeah, you're
the
right.
others I kind of didn't get. I don't get the Skims one. Like, I think collaborations are great. There's a time and a place. And yeah, I much prefer, like, for sure I would have the one I would have been most enticed by was the North Face Gucci one.
Yeah, same. I agree. And you made a good point that you need both collaborators to come from different worlds. And also
that's when it becomes interesting.
Yeah, it's a real collaboration, isn't it? They both bring things completely different. Yeah. What's your next one?
So my next one is, I think I'm going to call her the fashion icon of the year. So this was going to be one of my questions to you of who is it, but I feel like yours might be similar. Miss Zendaya.
You know what I have written down on my piece of paper? I have every look Zendaya wore in 2021. Iconic. She's the moment.
And like, I think obviously we're ending the year just after the Spider-Man films had huge press tours. So of course she's on like the tip of the tongue because of that. But the fact that we sort of discovered after the Spider-Man premieres that she tailors her look for her films. So she wore a dress that had like a spine back, and that is a nod to like one of the nemesises for Spider-Man. She wore like an Alexandra McQueen like outfit that was like web like inspired. Like that is amazing. And then for June, she wore those like neutral sand colored stuff.
Yeah,
like
vaping.
I literally love that. She is a walking work of art. She's the only person who I've ever seen master her like iconic pose, almost being her in mid movement of like walking. But like she's just so versatile.
Incredibly,
And like maybe I like her because she actually just seems like a nice person as well, from what I can tell, like really normal, down to earth. But she just suits so much. Like I feel like her styling team just really get it. It's fun, it's playful, it's not too serious. She knows the moments to pick, to not play about. She knows the moments to take risks. And like, I don't know, just really enjoyed her being, and I think she even won an award for like being the fashion like icon of the year or something like that. But she's great. Yeah. She arrived in 2021.
Yeah. And what we've spoken about her before, and time again, what she masters that not many other people really do is everything is a look. The hair goes so well with the dresses, like the draped leather, wet look leather dress with the skin tone Louboutins. The hair, she always is like different and creative with her hairstyles. She doesn't do what's just on trend.
Or just how it's cut. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's amazing. Last night I was in bed. That's when my TikTok time is. Bedtime. It's TikTok. And I was watching one and it was about I think it was an Elle article actually, and as many other magazines do at the end of the year, they compile a list of best dress for the year. And number one was Kendall Jenner. And
right, sure.
You know what? It's because she's beautiful and tall and skinny, and when you look like Kendall, you can wear a white t-shirt and be like, it looks nice. It's a nice look. Like she looks well put together, but best dressed as a multi-millionaire whose whole job is to just look nice. Like the bar, it has to be higher, right? She was number one, and I'm pretty sure the girl who was on TikTok talking about this said Zendaya wasn't even featured on the list. Yeah, it was that bad. Yeah. And there were other people who were much lower down the list who you would have thought should have been a lot higher. Like, for example, I'm not a Miley Cyrus fan, but I have to admit, this year, her whole like 70s glam rock chic.
Yeah.
I don't like mullets, but she was working the mullet. And so I think she at least should be above Kendall. Anyway, another discussion for another time, but Zendaya, goddess.
Little Miss Queen of 2021.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just the beginning, you know? I think she's just like finding her fashion strides, and we're just gonna keep getting these like amazing looks delivered. Like I already can't wait for what she's gonna wear at like the next Met Gala or something.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like she's now established herself that like she can take those risks. Like look at Rihanna. She turned up in a sleeping bag and we all like loved it because it's Rihanna.
Yeah.
Like
that's like, you know, when it's like fashion icon is like, I don't need to try anymore.
Yeah. And like I feel like Zendaya's almost like got there in a year.
Yeah.
Like she could wear something, you kind of be like, but it's Zendaya, or like, she's doing it because she's cool, or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a reason
why she's doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
What's next up for you?
So one has to be House of Gucci film. It was big. It was massive. It was really anticipated because it's a story about, well, first off, it's a crazy story. It's like, if you like true crime, then it's a true crime story, essentially. It's about greed, it's about murder, it's about family business, but it's about the single biggest fashion brand in the world.
Yeah.
And it's a story not many people knew as well. And it's not often that you see a film about designers, really. More often, correct me if I'm wrong, but more often it's like a documentary Like I've seen one about Manolo Blahnik and he's in it and he talks about his life and stuff, but it's not like a dramatization of events that have happened, 50 years ago. Yeah, I went to see the film and I loved it. Lady Gaga did really well in it, I think. I thought she was perfect for the role. Adam Driver, I now understand why everyone swoons over him. I get it, it was funny, but it was dark. Yeah.
And like we've talked about this before, Gucci's been on a slow trajectory down, nothing rapid, and nothing in a criticizing way. But they just had such a high sort of 3-4 years ago that they're slowly and they keep doing the North Face collab. They've been doing the most iconic fashion shows, but even I feel like they're just cementing their name as being just such a household name. For sure in my world, in what I get exposed to on a weekly basis, they are the biggest brand after Chanel and Hermes.
Yeah.
They have Dior. I love Dior. I love Dior, but Gucci is just giving us content. They basically with Miley Cyrus doing it, they've got Harry Styles always wearing their clothes. I see Gucci content all the time.
Yeah.
And I just think whatever they're doing, whoever is making sure we're just always getting something Gucci, is doing a good job.
Yeah. I agree. What's your next fashion moment?
So my next fashion moment is when Miss Billie Eilish dyed her hair blonde, and it was such a big moment from obviously having that acid green root grown roots look. That was a huge moment. I think she broke the Instagram record of her photo being liked, but more, she did her Vogue cover, and it was sort of the first time we saw her figure, and it was her empowering herself, and obviously it got twisted, but it was a big moment, her being on the cover, very corseted, very lingerie, really feminine. I really loved that look on her. She's actually a beautiful, beautiful girl.
Yeah.
I loved that look for her, and she's already dyed her hair back. But I just loved her and even then at the Met, she had her old Hollywood moment. And I don't know, I thought that it wasn't what probably any of us expected her from going this really grungy look to this really feminine Marilyn Monroe-esque hair. I just thought again, that's a risk, and it was cool, and it was just totally different. It wasn't just, oh, I know, let's now just dye it. I don't know. It was just, I had a lot of time for it, and I feel there were so many people emulating her with her acid green hair and her grungy look, that I think it maybe made people sort of be hang on, I can't just keep imitating Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
I feel I stopped seeing people imitate her as much.
Yeah, people had to move on because she was moving on. She was doing something.
It's when Biebs dropped his swooshy hair.
Yeah.
And how many guys probably had that haircut for a while. It was that sort of a thing of we have to move on from this at some point.
Yeah.
And I think she just did it really well with her controlling that narrative. And
for sure.
I think that Vogue cover was huge.
I thought the Vogue cover was beautiful. I loved it, and I love the images of her. I think that, I don't know if this was the intention, but I think it was probably a good message to put out there, is the way she dressed before and presented herself is like an older teenager, someone who was a kid essentially, a popular kid, a cool kid, you know, someone who's grunge and interesting and talented. But then with that whole look revamp, she was womanly. It was like, oh, Billie Eilish is like a grown woman, you know. And it like forced us to see her in a different way. I don't know her age. I think she's in the early 20s.
Just turned 20, I think.
She just turned 20. Oh, Jesus. Well, then that like makes sense, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
her being 19. And also it's so you have to think of it in a way that she's incredibly rich. She's probably achieved far more than like most adults will ever do in their lifetime. And it's like you want to be seen in a different way after a while, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it came after like earlier in the year, if not like last year, when that ridiculous meme of like she wore a vest top and like she got accused of having like that mum bod who's like,
oh,
like on the wine or whatever it was. And it's probably like, yeah, okay, my body isn't like this tiny figure. I've got boobs, I've got a shape, but like actually I hide it so that you don't criticize me. But like this is what's underneath it.
Yeah.
And like I think it's a really empowering statement of like, what are you going to talk about now? Because actually she still dresses in like a lot of baggy clothes afterwards. That's obviously what she like her style is and she's comfortable in. But I think like that's what like it's a very good way to control a bit of the narrative of like a bit of a like fuck you, this is my body, let me take it back.
For sure. I have another one, and that has to be the return of like fashion series. We have Emily in Paris, we have the Sex and the City reboot. We spoke about these like last week, but just in general, it's like fashion focused dramatized series, and that was quite a big year for fashion.
It's a big year for fashion, especially after like we'd sort of been lacking it in our own lives, and whether it was intentional by like the likes of Netflix to have these fashion focused shows, it showed us the things we'd actually been craving. We hadn't had those dressed up moments. We hadn't had that. And like Bridgerton, all of that stuff, like we really looked at the clothes, like for sure. Like I can't think, no one watches The Crown and is like, I want to dress like that. So how like Bridgerton, maybe because it felt quite like modern and sexy.
Yeah.
But like, and we all wanted the Duke in our life. Maybe it was that, but like the amount of people who were trying to buy those sort of shaped dresses. And yeah, I just like we had a real fashion moment and a fashion revival that I don't feel like we've had for a really long time on TV shows. Where the fashion is almost like as important or became as important as the content.
I think now with fashion, there being very little rules to styling and fashion, and trends are just not really a thing anymore. It really opens up people's ability to watch like things like Bridgerton and draw inspiration from that and wear that if that's your thing.
True.
Like the kids, the youth are gonna just like be making their own, you know. Back to TikTok, they're out there making their own corsets and wearing it like out to the club, which we weren't doing, sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a lot of inspiration that people are drawing from all kinds of shows, not just fashion specific ones.
That's so true. Well, that was actually my last one as well.
Oh, cool. I've just got one last one. It's a really quick one, but I think we have to mention it, and that is Balenciaga returning to Haute Couture.
Yes.
I mean, you know, in a time when
I mean,
question of
has Kim Kardashian paid for it? She sure is wearing half of it.
Yeah, it's true. But I think it's, you know, Haute Couture is just, it doesn't have to make sense. It's just for a designer to flex their like designing muscles and be like, this is what I can achieve. This is what I can create. Out of all the things in the world, this is what I want to make, for no other reason, just but for the love of the art of it. And I think for Balenciaga, which had cemented itself as like seen as a streetwear brand, or at least very like hype driven, you know, they're just going to make stuff that's like a t-shirt and like charge £800 for it for no reason. They actually kind of did a 360 and was like, you know what, we can actually make
something way more elevated,
showstoppers. And I just thought that was great. I think that's a great fashion moment for the year,
for sure. And actually, whilst you were just talking about that, totally unrelated, I thought of another one of like, we got the grunge couple like aesthetic with Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, and then of course Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian. And like, I think like these people have been everywhere. We've been watching this because I think it's not only that like Megan and Kourtney have like channeled their inner goth, like whatever it is, that got more like that more rebel style to match like their boyfriends. But I think people have been excited about it because not all of us want to dress twee.
Yeah.
And I think it's been actually a long time coming, just for like you to almost like bounce off of your other partner, or like we all loved the couple moments of the 90s.
It's very Bonnie and Clyde though, isn't it? It's got that kind of sentiment, like my ride or die, like we're matching. It's a whole joint vibe.
Like my, like our hot, like, yeah, that, and it's very much like the girls take on this male aesthetic, like their persona, they channel it through their like clothing and everything, and probably change the way they listen to music, what nail polish they wear. But I think, I don't know, I think it's something that like everyone's really appreciated seeing. I think actually it really, I mean, Megan Fox has got like the most unrealistic like figure in the world. But it suits her. It really suits Kourtney. And like I feel like we might see more couples like that, like more maybe quote unquote unusual pairings. I really enjoyed it, but like but obviously that aren't unusual because it obviously works. But like maybe Kourtney always was a bit like this, but just never showed it. Like who knows? So yeah, like gothic couples. I thought that I really do like the pairings from like an aesthetic perspective. I don't know, but it almost makes me think of like the trends and things people were wearing when we were growing up. We didn't look like that. They look much better. Like, I dressed very like gothic emo at times, but exactly. I didn't look that cool for sure. No, I looked like tragic. But I don't know, it was just like a style that I didn't know was going to come back, because as you said, like the vibe now is completely different. It's a lot more polished. It's not like grunge at all. But yeah, I was just like, I didn't know this was the moment that I needed, but it's here and I love it. I think that's the thing. I think it was like no one kind of saw it coming, but everyone's welcomed it. And I have a question for you. Do we think Kim's going to start dressing like Pete Davidson? Oh, I don't even think that's a thing. I don't even think that's a real thing. How does he even dress? No, because you know what? Like, remember, Kim Kardashian was the one who said, would you put a bumper sticker on a Bentley? Do you remember that? When she was talking about tattoos. Yeah. She's not that sort of woman. She doesn't even drink alcohol as far as I remember. Oh, I think she does now. Does she? Yeah, I thought like she does a little bit. Like a sip. Yeah, I don't think she's like the most outgoing. Parties and stuff. But
I don't think she's not really about that, like.
So you
rough.
don't think she's like currently smoking with Pete?
Nah, don't think she's doing any of that. No, honestly.
Oh dear. Well, let's see if we see more couples of like them matching their persona.
Yeah,
their couple persona in fashion.
Also, I'm tired of like lots of couples pretending that like they're the like perfect couple. You know what I mean? I think people are over that as well.
Yeah, tell us about your arguments, please. Like we all know what real life is. Stop pretending.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that was the end of our end of year episode. It was a good recap, actually. I think we've had a good year for fashion.
Yeah, it's better than I thought it would be when I first started like looking back over the year.
And there's been so many other moments, to be honest, that we haven't mentioned in this episode. So to the listeners, let us know what we missed, or what you would consider to be the biggest moment of this year, or the worst moment as well. We stuck to good ones. We didn't talk about the worst ones.
We need some positivity. Positivity.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, definitely let us know like if we've missed what your favorite moment of the year was.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for listening, guys. I've been Mim.
And I've been Scarlett.
And we'll see you next year.
Oh.
Ciao, Bellas. Bye.
Bye.